Ladies and gentlemen, Tavis Smiley is with us. Big applause again. And always with Tavis, there's a lot of applause, and then some people holding up signs in protest. Back in 1986, when Tavis was just 21 and Maya Angelou was 58, they met and began a friendship that would endure until Dr. Angelou died last May. Actually, it continues. Now, Tavis has written a book about their friendship called My Journey with Maya. And first of all, great to see you again.
Good to see you. You're looking well. Nice to meet you.
Yes.
Nice to meet you as well. Welcome back from New York. You've been quite busy.
On tour for a couple of weeks, but nothing like coming home. So
Yeah.
I'm so glad to get in my bed last night.
Yeah, I bet. Did your bed remember you at this point?
Yeah.
All right, now, Tavis, Maya Angelou is a special person for many, many people. She touched a lot of people in very personal ways. You were 21 when you met her. Didn't know what you were doing, kind of. Is that fair to say?
Fair to say. I worked for Tom Bradley here in L.A., the late, great mayor of our city. Had run for city council, lost that city council race, and it seems laughable now at my age to think that my life was over in my mid-20s.
Yeah.
But when you fail at the only thing you think you were born to do, the thing you think is your calling in the world, and you fail at it, and you're in your 20s, you're lost.
Yes.
And what this relationship with Maya ultimately helped me do, how might I put this, is to claim my name from the lost and found, to give myself, find my own identity, find my place in the world. But in that period where I was lost and didn't know what the next step was, I get this invitation, miraculously, to go to Africa with Maya Angelou for 2 weeks. And all I did for 2 weeks was basically carry her bags around. But the opportunity to sit at her feet and to listen and to laugh and to learn and to be loved on by her and to be told as a young black man that I mattered, that my opinion mattered, that there was a place for me in the world, that meant a great deal. I had that experience. We started a friendship. I came back home. A couple years later, I met you. I was on at KBC Radio and my career took off.
And even then when I met you, I've told you this many a time, you were different than everybody else. Most people are in radio to be radio stars, okay?
Fair enough.
Have an impact, make a good living, be talked about, be listened to, be celebrities. Right from the very first, whatever people may think of your political positions, you were there to serve.
Yeah.
You literally were there to serve. You really wanted to make things better.
Yeah, I think I have a simple definition of leadership, and I think we're all leaders in our own way, whether we're on TV or not. You can't lead people unless you love people, and you can't save people unless you serve people. So that leadership is about loving and serving people.
Let me jump in.
Okay, sure.
You and Maya Angelou, a couple of disagreements. This is a mild disagreement. To you, the most important thing was love. To her, the most important thing was?
Courage.
Courage.
I'm in my mid-20s. We're in Africa, sitting in the floor one day, and she says to me, as she called me, "Young Tavis, young Tavis, what say you is the greatest of all the virtues?" I thought it was a trick question. I said, "Love." She contorted her nose, kind of like bewitched, get that twinkled nose thing going on. I said, "I take it from your facial contortion, you don't agree with my assessment that love is the greatest of all the virtues." She says, "I do not." I said, "What do you think it is?" She said, "Courage." I said, "Courage? No way." And that started, until she died last year, a 28-year debate. Whenever we saw each other, we'd pick that conversation right back up. She took courage, I took love, and here's her assessment. The story goes on and on through the book, and you'll see how it changes and becomes more organic and dynamic over 28 years. But her ultimate thesis was that she thought courage was the greatest of all the virtues because it takes courage to love.
Yes.
And my response was that I've never done anything in my life courageously if it wasn't animated and activated by a deep and an abiding love for whatever that thing was. I take a bullet for my mama. You'd call that courageous. I call it
love.
Love.
So
we
in
had
the
this
end,
debate.
it's the
For 28 years, we argued about this.
There's a lot of things you had difference of opinion on, but I think that's what's so fascinating is you had this relationship, the age difference. She's the mentor, you're the
That's
mentee,
right.
but you had this friendship and the ability to disagree, and yet in the end, it didn't matter.
Sometimes,
Let's talk about President Obama.
Sure.
That was the example, exactly.
Candidate Obama. All right, Tavis Smiley, people think, Brother Tavis,
Fair enough.
it should be the safest place for candidate Obama with you.
Yeah.
It wasn't, and she was not happy with you, and other people were. Talk about
I have a
that.
very simple edict when it comes to President Obama. For that matter, I think this is true for any president that I've covered or talked about in my career. I respect the president. I will protect the president, particularly this one against white supremacist, racist attacks, which he's been too often subjected to. I respect him, I protect him, but when he's wrong, I will correct him. That's my job as a broadcaster, to respect, protect, and correct when I think he's wrong about the issues. Maya didn't quite see it that way initially. She was started out as a Hillary supporter. Now Hillary's running again, of course.
Yeah.
Had those Arkansas roots. She's from Stamps, Bill, as we all know, a place called Hope. So they have those Arkansas relationships. So she started out a Hillary supporter. Hillary loses, Barack wins, and now she wants this brother to be the first black president. I get that. Understandably. Me
You
too.
said yourself,
Me
I was
too.
going to vote for him.
I'm voting for the guy. I'm
him.
voting for him. I want to see him win.
But you're not on the Obama team.
I'm not a
specifically.
surrogate. I'm not a team member.
Right.
My job is to ask the tough questions,
And hold
to raise the
people
issues,
accountable.
hold people accountable. And Maya and I had a real tense conversation about that one night until I said to her, let me ask you a question. We argued for an hour and a half. Not argued, we talked for an hour and a half. And finally I said to her, Steve, let me ask you a question. Who do you think I got this from? Living my life by my immutable principles, standing in my truth, being true to the calling and vocation that you helped me discover in Africa 20 years ago. Where do you think, pray tell, dear Maya, I got this from? And then she chuckled and she backed off. And that conversation, as did every other, no matter how tense it was, every conversation ended in love. And to your point, right quick, what made the relationship so great was here's someone of her iconic status who welcomed me, who invited me, who wanted me to interrogate her, who wanted that conversation back and forth. Who does that to young black men?
Did you feel the pressure because you had other surrogates calling you saying, hey, back off a little bit on
You had Obama's people
Sure,
after you.
Yeah, they had everybody coming after me.
Yeah.
I felt some pressure, but it never thought for a moment about wavering because it was never about the president. It was about the
I'm going
principles.
to jump you around a little bit here.
Yeah.
There is a smash show on Fox
Oh.
called Empire. It
Haven't
is
heard of it.
It
Haven't
is
heard
the
of it as yet.
surprise hit of the television season.
Yeah.
Beyond everybody's expectations. People are loving this show. Tavis Smiley says,
Tavis Smiley says that I don't believe in knock and hustle. I'm like Jay-Z and Mary J. I don't knock hustle. It's doing remarkably well. Maya taught me an important lesson in this book about the difference between art and entertainment. What I said the other day was, and it just kills me how these headlines, and this is the world we live in. People take headlines, what I call clickbait.
Yes.
It's clickbait.
But
They
you
get
know
to
that.
click.
But you know that.
Yeah, exactly. But that doesn't mean I can't speak my truth or answer a question honestly if I'm asked. So the question was asked, what about Empire? And I said, it's a great show, but there is a debate. This is true. There is a debate inside of black America about whether or not it advances some of the worst of our pathologies. All I said was there was a debate. I didn't even offer my own assessment about it. I said there's a debate, and headlines, Tavis Smiley blast Empire. I did not. I respect Lee Daniels. He's done some remarkable work over his career. He'll do a lot more, but there is a debate, as there should be. And you know what's funny about this? They love it when we debate about it, because that keeps the show on Entertainment Tonight and Access Hollywood and The Insider. They love these controversies, and the showrunners love the controversy. But there is a conversation, and the reason why there's a conversation finally is because in this town, sadly, there still is not balance when it comes to the images of black people. The complexity of character still does not exist. And so whenever you see a show that advances any of our pathologies, there's going to have to be a debate.
And I know we're out of time, but the people we tend to respond to are athletes or entertainers. It's still those two categories.
And I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah, but that's what we respond to now as a society.
It's the way the world works.
Yeah.
And we can have art and entertainment and live happily ever after.
All right. Tavis is going to be signed copies of the book tonight at 7 o'clock at Barnes & Noble at the Grove. He'll be at the LA Times Festival of Books on Saturday. There's one other there. Where else?
SO1 in
SO1.
the Mert Park Wednesday night.
Okay.
You are busy.
Busy week.
Thank you for stopping by.
Nice to see you both. I
Nice
love you,
to
man.
see
You know
you.
that. Thank you. Love you. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.